Hello, hello, hello. I'm Ed Jones II, the founder of the Beyond the Field program and an experienced player development professional. This podcast is here to bring exposure to the player development field with the goal of creating generational impact in athletics and other surrounding areas. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with me here on this platform. In today's episode, we will continue our series called The Questions of Player Development. I would also like to announce that I'm writing a book that will cover these questions as well. We will dive into the questions and their answer after this ad by our sponsors. All right, today we continue the series called The Questions of Player Development. The past year, I collected a number of questions for my next book that I would write. I decided, why not bring the book to this podcast? In this episode, we will cover questions 7 through 9. Question 7, where do you think player development will be in the next 5 years? It's a question I hear. Massive growth. If I could invest in player development, I would invest because the growth is steady and it's not going anywhere. As most people say, business is booming as far as player development goes and the growth in it. I wrote 3 blogs that can be used to answer this question. One spoke on the future of player development. The other 2 spoke on the trends and the data of player development from the last 6 years. I will use all of these for this question. I will also put the blog in the show notes so you can go there, click on that, read, learn more, get greater context there. Episode 3 of this podcast also addresses player development growth as well. So if you haven't listened to it, please go back, listen to episode 3 for just trends and data on the growth of player development. All right, so let's start with facts. I have theories, I have things that I think are going to happen, but let's start with facts of player development in the last 6 years. Once again, this was covered in blogs I have, and the links will be in the show notes. There was a 96% increase in player development professionals from the beginning of the 2016 season to the beginning of the 2021 season. The reason why I picked those 2 seasons is because when I got into player development, it was in 2016, and my last year in player development here was 2021. So that's kind of the years I use and the data I use. And in that time, there was a 96% increase in those positions. As I was preparing for this podcast, I found an update for you. Since the end of the 2021 season, there has been a 19% increase in player development professionals heading into the 2022 season. That's crazy. We're 4 months away from the season ending, and there's already an increase. So once again, like I said earlier, if I could invest, I would invest in player development because it continues to grow. These numbers are great and are great indicators that this role shows no signs of slowing down. If you're listening to this and you want to pursue a career, these numbers, these findings are great for you. Continue to make those connections, as I talked about in the last episode, because positions are growing in this field. So going into 2022, if I take the stats from 2016 when I started with player development professionals, there is a 128% increase in the positions from the time I started. Now, when I started, I could see growth over the last 6 years, but if you'd have told me it's 128%, I wouldn't have believed you. But that's what the data shows. And it's just that growth will continue to grow in the next 5 years. Now, one of those things, as the positions grow, one trend we're starting to see, and data's behind, is that a lot of these player development departments are getting multiple positions. There was a 166% increase of programs with multiple player development professionals on their staff from 2016 to the 2021 season. Once again, I have another update for you, because as I was preparing for this podcast, I found that there has been an increase of 31% in teams with multiple directors of player development as we head into the 2022 season. Once again, it's incredible. So not only are the professionals growing, but people are getting help. Programs with 3 or more player development staffers has increased 60% since I wrote that blog, covering 2016 to 2021. And so it's incredible to see that, because the numbers are encouraging. I never had opportunity in my time to have a full-time staff member. I would have loved it. I think that there is opportunity. There's so much you can do, the impact, you can have there. I've had interns throughout the years. Major shout out to my first intern, Albert Garcia, and to Lauren Hawkins, who spent the most time with me. those have been the staff I've had. I've had others also, but I haven't had a full-time staff member. Having help in the role creates a deeper impact in the lives of the student athletes in the program. Instead of it being where I had, all this on my desk where I got to get with this department, whatever it may be, I can now delegate this to others. And as we delegate, we get these tasks, these things given to us done quicker so we can spend time and impact the lives of the student athletes. If you have a staff, listen to me. If you have a staff, be grateful. Number one, empower that staff and don't take it for granted. Going into the 2022 season, when talking about player development staff with multiple staffers from 2016 going into 2022, this will be an increase of 250%. So if you're there and you're a one man or one woman show in player development, hang on. This data shows that positions are being open and that help will come for you. Another stat we kind of in the blog there that I could talk about, every conference on the FBS level saw an increase in player development programs within its members. And so every program saw, from 2016 when I started to 2021, there was growth in different football programs having player development professionals. Looking at every conference at the FBS level, having someone in player development is encouraging because I honestly believe in the next 5 years, every single school on the FBS level will have someone working in player development. Those are the stats from the last 6 years. Once again, you can check out the blogs for the information. The updates were great to see those numbers increasing. But let's move on to where I think player development will continue to head in the next 5 years. I believe the following will happen in player development in the next 5 years. I think number one, fundraising is going to be huge. It's happening now, but I believe as more stories highlight what programs are doing for players, more money will come from donors, boosters like that. I think there's a lot of programs that do great jobs at using social media to show what they're doing and how they're enhancing the lives of their student athletes. And as that happens, I believe that donors will give money to that because that is a ROI that is going to be high. It's already happened at some schools. I know some schools that they present to their donors, their boosters yearly. That there's people that are raising funds for those departments, and that's awesome. But I believe in the next 5 years, every player development director will have an opportunity to get in front of those who have the money and can fund programming and make a presentation to show them that this impacts the student athletes that are there at the university that they love. Number two, education. I believe that sports programs will begin diving deeper into this role as students show interest. I get messages, a couple times a week from students in sports management programs. It could be undergrad or grad, asking about player development. They're asking, hey, what do you do? How do you do it? Different things like that. And so once again, these sports management programs are going to have to, they're going to have to feed the hunger, for lack of a better word, of player development. They will. Now, sports programs, sports management directors, you're listening, I can help you with that. Let's talk about it and let's do some business. The next thing I think is internships. I believe that the player development internship will be the hottest commodity in the building. I think that students, once again, from those sports management programs and other students on campus will want to work in player development as they will have access to so much that goes on and will be able to help with the impact of student athletes. Students looking to make an impact will flock to these roles. I mean, I kind of have seen it the last couple of years, but it's some exciting times ahead for those who need help from student workers and interns, because I think people are coming in droves. The next will be an impact on high school and youth football. As I mentioned in episode 3, as the player development space grows on the college level, the same will happen on the high school level. If you listen to episode 3, or if you know my story, I was a high school coach before I got on the college level, and I was the recruiting coordinator. And the reason why we created that role is because recruiting staffs were growing bigger at the college level, and we needed someone to be a liaison from the high school level to the college level. And so I was able to be in that role, help our student athletes get recruited. But I see the same thing happen with player development. as these player development staffs grow, I believe that, and I know there's people out there. I'm starting to see it on Twitter when I follow, coaches that are coaching high school right now. I may say, I coach this and I'm director of player development. And so it will continue to grow. This is, like I said, something that I think could be so, so big, because I believe the programming that you're seeing in, the college level will start happening in the high school level. And so I think that those college professionals will have opportunity to have, those recruits coming on campus who will understand the player development program and understand what's being asked of them so that they can enhance their lives. Lastly, I believe player development will have a great impact on women in sports. I know many women who are already in a player development role. About 20% of the directors on the collegiate level, at the FBS level, are women. And I just believe that there's opportunities for it to grow specifically in football with player development. I think there's a great opportunity for women to impact the student athletes there. I saw with my own eyes Lauren Hawkins worked for me at KU, and just to see what she was able to do for our players, the point of view she was able to bring to help me learn more about impacting just new areas and different ideas and things like that. And so the growth is there. I've seen it. It's happening on NFL level. Coaches and programs that are looking to hire women, I believe that this is a position that if they want to get into player development, I believe that this is a position that, as you want to diversify your staff, I think this is a great position to start and see that impact immediately. All right, well, that's my answer to question 7. I'm really, really excited about the growth and the path of where player development is headed. There's data behind it. I have my own thoughts, but seeing those numbers has just been incredible. This space is a great space to impact not only players, but a program overall. So I could talk about this all day, but I have to move on to the next question. Question number 8, what can a smaller program who may not have the resources for a position of player development do to ensure that they develop their student athletes? I wrote a blog about this, and it's titled, "How Does a Smaller Program Create Player Development?" The link, of course, will be in the show notes with the other blog links. This is a question that I can commonly get. People want to develop their players, but they can't hire a position. They can't hire a director based off resources, based off how they're capped, different things like that. Well, besides getting consulting from the Beyond the Field program, because we're there to help you, here are 4 things that you can do to find resources to help with the development of those in your program. Number 1, campus resources. You have to get into the campus. You have to build those relationships. There are so many professionals and skilled individuals doing the work on your campuses. It could be high school or college. You have counselors, community relations departments, career centers, mentorship opportunities, alumni departments. I mean, it's so much. There's so many people there that have experience and want to help. If you build relationships with them, you give them access, they would love to help. Another way to get help is collegiate conference or school district resources. There's a presiding entity that your program is a part of. If you're a high school, there's a school district. If you're in college, you have an overall conference. And even in that, once again, there's professionals there in many areas. Your school district or your conference may have initiatives or programs that the players can serve, or that serve the players. They will have someone representing or directing the different areas we spoke about in the campus resource. So once again, those resources you saw on campus, you can see at another level through your conference or through your school district. This is a great opportunity for mentorship, networking, and internships. Another way to develop is taking hold of the community resources. There are people and programs in your local community that can provide great avenues to help those in your programs. There's clinics, panels, events, all provide opportunities and topics that can help your student athletes. The community has a great understanding of what the athletes may go through living there. There's people that have walked through their shoes. There's people that have been there in their entire lives, maybe people that have moved in for your athletes that may have moved, whatever. But they understand, the external experiences of living there, what it can entail. And so having those community resources to help, that's huge. Another way, city and county resources. You have government officials and departments that can aid in the access and influence that your programming can have. The city and county should want to be a part of those transformational opportunities to impact your student athletes. I think that, if you're governing over a people, you would want to be able to create transformational experiences for them to make impact in their lives. They can provide programming for all citizens under their jurisdiction to benefit their well-being. So take advantage of that. I think that's a big thing. And the last one, and probably the biggest one to me, is or are the alumni resources. I mean, this one is huge, huge. I tell people all the time, don't forget about the alumni from your program. Number one, you got someone, there's passion behind their service. They did it. They played the sport, and there's this impact, that is passion. Or maybe they were just, they weren't an athlete and they were in general pop, be it high school, college, whatever it may be, but they have a passion about their school. They love their school and they want to help. They can provide so much help for your program in areas of mentorship and career connections. I mean, they've walked the path of the student athletes, and once again, if they weren't students, Gen Pop, they've walked the path of being a, alum of that university, and they want to help. I say it all the time. How many alumni? My high school I went to, my university I went to, I'm helping out. I'm helping out because of just the experience I had. So take advantage of the alumni resources you have. You have, once again, professionals, individuals that are skilled at different things. You have people who can provide those mentorships, bring someone along. But please, 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 if you don't hear anything in these resources for programs that are looking to really squeeze as much as they can to develop those under their influence, please, please, please engage your alumni. Question 9, how do you develop people for roles at the next level? So when I saw this question, I received it. It was a vague question. And honestly, I was kind of like, let me go to another question. What does this really have to do with player development? But I said, you know what? No, it's talking about developing people. And so I'm going to answer it. So here are tips that I give people to the next level. So this could be our athletes, going back from my high school days, those who are going to go play college, college football, or those who are just going to go be a student. In my time as a college professional, it could be those who are going to the league or those who are going to be professional in the workforce. But here are some tips that I just kind of live by and what I would use to help people develop for the next level. Number one is be who you are. You have to be genuine. I think there's a lot of people who, let me not say a lot of people. I think there are people out there who want to be what someone wants them to be. Let me be what I think they want. And there's just something about being genuine, being who you are. I think whatever that looks like, it will help you the next level, because when you are who you are, you allow your creativity, you allow your skills to be evident in an organic environment. So that's one thing. From be who you are. I would say build genuine relationships. I know you hear a lot about networking and this and how it can help you advance, but I'm a big believer in genuine relationships. There's good people out there. Just build those relationships. Check up on people, see how they're doing. If you see someone on social media, hit them up, text them. Hey, congratulations on that. Congratulations on that programming. Happy birthday. Congrats on, the child, whatever it may be. I think building those genuine relationships and checking on people is huge and will help you as time goes on, because you build genuine relationships. And as you are who you are, you have people that can speak to who you truly are. Set clear goals and just be honest with yourself, where you're at when setting these goals. I think that's something I had to learn. I would have these, great goals, but are they achievable? Can it happen? So set clear goals, know your strengths and your weaknesses. I think it helps when you know your strengths. So one thing I wish I would have done when I came out of college is I wish I would have done a, assessment of who I am, a personality assessment, a leadership assessment, whatever that may be, because I knew what I needed to work on, but knowing what I was strong at, that was something I found out later in life. So here I was as a professional working on those weaknesses I may have had, but you also want to cultivate your strengths. Something may come easy to you. You have a strength, cultivate. Another thing would be to have a growth mindset. Don't ever stop learning. Nobody's ever going to cap and say, or be in a position where like, hey, I've achieved, I'm 100 out of 100. There's an opportunity to grow. It could be anything. For me, the biggest thing I've grown last couple of years is communication. I like talking to people, but talking is not effective communication in some places. So have a growth mindset and just become the best person you could be. clarity on what's being asked of you. This is something I've experienced lately in my career. And just that clarity of what you're asking me to do. What do you want me to do? How do you want to get it done? In that, I would also say document and take notes. They will help you document. You know, this is what, I'm being asked. So you can come back and say, hey, this is kind of what you asked me to do. Am I doing it right? Or did something change? I need to know. But I think that clarity of your role and having that conversation with those who, make those decisions, I think that helps big time. Focus. Make time to focus. You have to put it in your schedule to focus on the task at hand, to focus on yourself, to just have time to be clear about where your actions are going, where your efforts are going. You need time to focus. Remember those who supported you and support you along the way. I think there's a lot of attention I see on social media about haters, right? Like, man, I'm gonna show my haters, I'm gonna show this person, I'm gonna show that person. And to keep it a buck with you, your haters are going to sleep and they ain't worried about what you're doing, So I don't think move your attention to those who have supported you, who has been with you when you were nothing, like for me, I'm so thankful for my wife. She supported me greatly throughout my entire career. She was with me. I still remember this phone conversation when I was a high school coach and we were 0-3 and I thought we were gonna, I was like, man, I'm about to get fired at my alma mater. What are we doing? She was just been with me, through thick and thin. So I instead of focusing on those who may not believe in me, those who may be spreading lies about my character, whatever it may be, let me remember those who have supported me and continue to support me, so that effort when you're pushing through, it's not for, hey, let me prove to them. No, let me prove the people who supported me right. Those people who see me in a light even greater than I see myself, let me prove them right. So I think that's something I like to share. Remember those who support you. Know your needs over your wants. I know that is as a lot of people hear that think financially, but I think even in your career and what you're doing in life, know what you need. Wants are awesome. There's things that I want, but what do I need in this moment? What do I need to get done? What do I need that will help me get the job done? The wants will come if you continue to work hard. And here I got a couple more. I know I got a lot. Here's one I really, really have learned: be where your feet are. Advancement will come, in careers. Take care. If you're taking care of what you need to take care of, people will notice what you're doing. I've been blessed that's been my career. I've went from place to place because somebody else was noticing what I was doing, where I was at. So be where your feet are. You can look at this different things and, oh, this person's career is going here. Oh man, this person's on the rocket ship to success. But just be where your feet are. The big time is where you are. And so be there. And the last one, Bible verse I really, really love: don't despise small beginnings. Maybe, you see something and you get an assignment, you say, hey, man, this is whatever it may be, but don't despise small beginnings. And that's tough. It's something I'm continuing to learn every single day, but don't despise it. Don't despise the process, the start of it, the one task you may have. Master it. And as you master that which is small and you're faithful in that which is small, you're able to be given more. So don't despise small beginnings. I know I said a lot. That's how I wanted to answer that question. Those are some things that advice I would give to those who are going professionally in the league, going professionally in the workplace, even when I was at high school level. These are just values overall that I just live by and I'm learning or getting better with every single day. All right, it's time for the former player shout out. Want to give recognition to those that I've coached or led who are doing great things beyond the field. This episode, I want to give a shout out to Andrew Segovia. Andrew was a wide receiver during my time at the University of Houston. Andrew was one of our hardest workers, and his positivity impacted our program immensely. He was respected and was a great encourager of his teammates. Throughout that time, he managed to maintain a 3.5 GPA while playing football and working as a manager for Papacitos. If you've been to Houston and you know anything about Papacitos, it's always busy. So my guy would leave football where his schedule was packed and then head to Papacitos and was a manager there. So holding a 3.5, doing all that is impressive. He graduated from UH in 2020 from the prestigious hotel and restaurant management program. He is currently still in the manager program for Papa's and ensures that the product quality of food and drink is immaculate. He continues to grow in his role and will hopefully become a general manager soon. Andrew, we're cheering for you, and you will become a general manager soon. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for taking time to listen today. Go follow Beyond the Field on Twitter and IG at BTF_program and on Facebook at BTF Program. These episodes are also loaded into YouTube, so you can find us there. Search Beyond the Field Program and subscribe there. Tag us on social media and let us know what you learned about player development from today's show. Use hashtag the PD Pod as the hashtag for our show. Go visit btfprogram.com and check out the resources and the blogs. I spoke a lot about the blogs I've written, and I put them in the show notes. Go check those things out. A lot of information there. Subscribe to this podcast on the platform you're listening to. Please rate and review the show. It would mean so much to me. Rating and reviewing, I need you all to do it. Even what I'm doing is I'm going back to podcasts that I am listening to, and I'm rating and reviewing, because it is important to not only the podcast, but to the podcaster, the person putting in, because it other people can learn about the podcast. So please rate and review. I share this podcast if you believe it will benefit someone to learn more about player development. Next episode, we'll talk about questions 10 to 12. In it, we'll discuss helping people see the potential that you see in them, keeping team members focused on the journey and not the destination, and the importance of faith in this role. I look forward to the next podcast. Thank you for tuning in and spending your valuable time with me. God bless you. Have a great day. Go out and create generational impact. Don't wait. Create generational impact today.